Once again, I want to give all praise to Yahweh Bashim, Amashak Yahweh Shai, and I want to give double honors to the elders out of the apostles of Great Millstone who rule well. And I also want to give honors to the Akim that's out here pushing this truth and sincerity to the four corners. Just want to say Shalom. Uh, we get back down into these prophecies, the book of Isaiah. And this is going to be Isaiah 10. I'm going to start at Isaiah 10 and 1. And it says, woe unto them that decree unrighteous decrees, and that write grievousness which they have prescribed. And basically that's talking about, what the government do here to our people. And I'm gonna repeat that. And it says, woe unto them that decree unrighteous decrees, like making bogus laws, to get us locked up, to oppress us, laws that's focused on us, and that's what they do right now. So it says, woe unto them that decree unrighteous decrees, and that write grievousness which they have prescribed, to turn aside the needy from judgment, and to take away the right from the poor of my people, that widows may be their prey, and that they may rob the fatherless. And that's what this country do. And that's what it was designed to do, the society we in right now. It's designed to oppress the man, the Israelite man, and then while the Israelite man is oppressed and he's locked up, or he's out here in these streets, gone, period. Whether he's in jail, whether he's dead, or whether he's running the streets. He's doing it because that's all he can do. He's been reduced to doing the things that he can do, not what he want to do. And while that's happening, our children are being raised by their mothers instead of their fathers. And when that happens, the child ain't gonna come up right because the child need their father, for guidance. And and then they prey on our children with these streets without their fathers being there. That's just like I take your child. I'm cool with you. We cool. Then something happened to you, and then I sneak on in and I prey on your child, and every chance I get, I do something that can harm him or do something wrong to him till he's all fucked up. And this is what they do. And it said, and what will ye do in the day of visitation, and in the desolation which shall come from far? To whom will ye flee for help? So the Most High says, so when I do this shit to y'all, who the fuck y'all gonna run to help y'all? He said, and where will ye leave your glory? Without me they shall bow down under the prisoners, and they shall fall under the slain. For all his anger is not turned away, but his hand is stretched out still. So, these curses are still going. Even though we was released from the hard bondage that was made to say we still in captivity. So, his hand is still stretched out. And then it says, O Assyrian. And that's referring to this, and that's one of the tabernacles of Edom. And it's referring to this white man still. O Assyrian, the rod of mine anger, and the staff in their hand is mine indignation. I will send him against a hypocritical nation, and against the people of my wrath will I give him a charge to take the spoil. And that just goes back to when you hear us talking about the race riots is going to jump off and pop off, after everything goes down. It's already in the scriptures that Israel going to win the race riots, But, a lot of us going to go through a lot of trials and tribulation, through Jacob's trouble. And so, it said, I will send him against a hypocritical nation, and against the people of my wrath will I give him a charge to take the spoil, and to take the prey, and to tread them down like the mire of the streets. Howbeit, he meaneth not so. So, he's asking, how is it possible that the shit that they doing to us, that they didn't mean to do it? How is this a mistake? It's not a mistake. This is by design. This is on purpose. It said, howbeit he meaneth not so. Neither does his heart think so, but it is hard to destroy and cut off nations, and not a few. And that's what has happened. If you think about it, he have cut off every nation on the planet. And now he's working on his own.
Yes.
Yeah, grab that. Just hold it there. And now, Salaki, and now he's working on his own nation. For he have said, are not my princes altogether kings? And is not Karno as Carchemish? Is not Hamath as Arphad? Is not Samaria as Damascus? As my hand have found those kingdoms of the idols, and whose graven images did excel them of Jerusalem and of Samaria, shall I not, as I have done unto Samaria and her idols, so do to Jerusalem and her idols? So all of our people that's running around here that don't know the truth, you can't say that nobody didn't try to tell you or nobody try to warn you. You enjoyed your idols. You enjoy worshiping crosses, worshiping white Jesuses, worshiping whatever it is that your heart desire. Gym shoes, cars, clothes, selling drugs. Those things are your gods. Anything that you will do, anything for can be considered a god, an idol god. How you doing, brother? And so, Shalaki, it says, shall I not, as I have done unto Samaria and her idols, so do to Jerusalem and her idols? Wherefore, it shall come to pass that when Yahweh have performed this whole work upon Mount Zion and on Jerusalem, I will punish the fruit of the stout heart of the king of Assyria and the glory of his high looks. So he's going to bring this country down. But before he destroy, he's going to come through here, as I told y'all last week. He's going to come through here, he's going to deal with the 2/3. For he said, by the strength of my hand I have done it, and by my wisdom. For I am prudent, and I have removed the bounds of the people, and have robbed their treasures. And I have put down the inhabitants like a valiant man. And my hand hath found as a nest the riches of the people. And as one gathereth eggs that are left, have I gathered all the earth. And there was none that moved. There was none that moved the wings. So, everything that these people have built up, all these riches they done squandered and gathered away, the Most High is going to remove all that from them. And when he said none to move a wing, the eagle is their crest, has always been in every kingdom. So when he was referring to them again, this is another clue to let you know he's referring to them when he said the wing. He said, or open the mouth, or peep. He said, shall the axe boast itself against him that heweth therewith, or shall the saw magnify itself against him that shaketh it? As if the rod should shake itself against them that lift it up, or as if the staff should lift up itself, as if it were no wood. Therefore shall the Lord of hosts, send among his fat ones leanness. We talked about the famine. Famine of the word, the pestilence, which is the diseases and stuff, and there ain't gonna be no food. It's gonna be a shortage of everything, including the scriptures. And then it said, and under his glory he shall kindle a burning like the burning of a fire. And the light of Israel shall be for a fire, and the Holy One for a flame. And it shall burn and devour his thorns and his briars in one day. So the Most High is going to destroy this place in one day. This whole kingdom. That is going to be, everything, all will be fulfilled in one day. That's all it's going to take. And shall consume the glory of his forest, and of his fruitful field, both soul and body. And they shall be as when a standard bearer fainteth. And the rest of the trees of his forest shall be few, that a child may write them. Then it says, and it shall come to pass in that day, that the remnant of Israel, which are the elect, the 144,000 and the 1/3, that's going to be saved, and it says that the remnant of Israel as such are escaped of the house of Jacob. So they're going to get away from they're going to survive the rest of these idiots out here that don't want to get it, and they're going to end up getting destroyed. They're not going to get destroyed with the rest of them. So, and then I'm going to read it again. It said, and it shall come to pass in that day that the remnant of Israel and such as are escaped of the house of Jacob. So they're going to get away from the rest of these cats, these 2/3 that ain't going to make it. It says, shall no more again stay upon him that smote them. So we're not going to be here. We're not going to be right here getting oppressed no more. You know, the elect is going to rise up above that. That's the beauty of it. And then it says, but shall stay upon the Lord, Yahweh, the Holy One of Israel in truth. The remnant shall return, even the remnant of Jacob, unto mighty Yahweh. For though thy people Israel be as the sand of the sea, yet a remnant of them shall return. So our numbers are great. People don't know it because of confusion of faith, but it's more Israelites than you think it is. Because people going by looks. You can't go by looks, because if you go by looks, you'll be going off. Because there's people that look like me and you that ain't Israel. Like I gave y'all an example with that Bob Marley move. You know, you the seed of your father. All it takes is for a black man to make to another nationality 3 generations, his son back 3 generations, and to something else, and he's not going to look like himself. He's going to look like somebody else. So you don't know who's who. They've been doing this since forever. So we don't know who's who. That's why the Lord said we gotta deal in truth and in spirit. We gotta judge everything by the spirit. We must try each spirit by the spirit. You can't judge the flesh because the flesh is carnal and is corrupted. Why is it corrupted? It's corrupted because they have mixed with the nations. Everybody has mixed with each other. So it's corrupted. There was a time when you could tell who was who by looking at them. No more. Then it says, for thy people Israel be as the sand of the seas. Just think about the sand that's on the sea. Think about trying to count all the grains of sand on the sea. Now the Most High said, it's that many of us. He said, as though they be as the sand of the sea, only a remnant, which only a small portion of them will return back to the Most High, to the law, statutes, commandments. It says, yet a remnant of them shall return. The consumption decreed shall overflow with righteousness. For Yahweh thy power of hosts shall make a consumption. Hold on. Then it says, even determined in the midst of all the land. Therefore, thus said Yahweh thy power of hosts, O my people that dwelleth in Zion, be not afraid of the Assyrian. He said, do not be afraid of this damn white man. He shall smite thee with a rod and shall lift up the staff against thee, after the manner of Egypt, the same way they did us in Egypt. They were cold towards us. They beat us and killed us and just treated us like shit. This is how this white man do. He said, for yet a very little while, and the indignation shall cease. He said, just a minute, and that shit gonna be all over. It's all gonna stop. And my anger in their destruction. And Yahweh of hosts shall stir up a scourge for him, according to the slaughter of Midian and the rock of Or. And as his rod was upon the sea, so shall he lift it up after the manner of Egypt. Same the way the Egyptians did. The Egyptians oppressed us mightily and hard. But after the Most High got through putting them plagues on his ass, he was like, man, get up out of here. Please get up out of here. You know, they didn't want no more trouble. And so just like it was with them, it's going to be the same way with these motherfuckers. They're going to be like, look, please, we don't want no trouble. You know? And then it said, and it shall come to pass in that day that his burden shall be taken away from off thy shoulder, and his yoke from off thy neck. And the yoke shall be destroyed because of the anointing. That's right, the yoke going to be destroyed, the yoke that he got on our neck right now. The power he got over us, to rule over us, is going to be taken away because of who we are, because of our anointing. So he has come to Ai. He has passed Migron. At Michmash he has laid up his carriages. They are gone over the passage. They have taken up their lodging at Jebah. Ramah is afraid. Gibeah of Saul is fled. Then he says, lift up thy voice, O daughter of Galium, because it caused it to be heard unto Laish, O poor Anathoth. Then it says, Madmenah is to remove the inhabitants of Jebim, gathering themselves to flee. As yet shall he remain at Nob that day. He shall shake his hand against the mount of the daughter of Zion, the hill of Jerusalem. So, people always they're gonna hate us anyway. And they're really gonna hate us when we come back to rulership. So they can keep shaking their hand at us from a distance. But check out this. He said, behold, the Lord Yahweh of hosts shall lop the bow with terror, and the high ones of stature shall be hewn down, and the haughty shall be humbled. So when they do that shit, the Most High is going to cause their ass to fall before us. And we're going to fuck them up. They're going to be fucked up. And then we're going to humble their ass like they humbled us. We're going to humble their ass. And then it says, and he shall cut down the thickets of the forest with iron, and Lebanon shall fall by a mighty one. See, this is the thing, man. These prophecies that we be putting out here, man, y'all got to pay attention to, because this shit gonna come to pass. All of y'all that pay attention to this, that make it, when you going through these tribulations and you start going through these things, you're gonna be like, yeah, because the word gonna be gone from you. You're gonna have to operate off spirit. You're gonna have to operate off what marinated in your spirit, off memory. And then you're gonna be like, yeah, I remember. Yeah, that's what happened. And then that happened, and that happened. You gotta keep this shit to your spirit, man. We're gonna pound this into your spirit, because in a minute it's gonna be a famine of the word. You ain't even gonna be to hear the word. They're working on it right now. They shutting brothers down right now. Yeah, with this internet business, they shutting it down. As far as putting this truth out here, man. So before I leave, because I'm not gonna be out here too long, I'm gonna take you to Zechariah. This is Zechariah 10. Let me see. I'm gonna start at 11 and 1.
Zechariah 11.
Zechariah 11 and 1, yeah. The very first verse of chapter 11. Let me know when you got it.
I got it.
Okay. This is Zechariah chapter 11, verse 1. And it says, open thy doors, O Lebanon, that the fire may devour thy cedars. Howl, fir tree, for the cedar is fallen, because the mighty are spoiled. So, basically, that's just a parable of the Most High. He's destroying the city. What happens whenever we went to battle, or whenever anybody went to battle in those days? What happened? Even in these days, once you win the battle, you go through and you destroy the city. You pillage the village, rape the women, take the spoil of goods, get the spoils, and then you make them rebuild, and you set up a new kingdom. Well, that's what they're doing. This is what's going to happen. And it says, there's a voice of the howling of the shepherds, for their glory is spoiled. A voice of the roaring of young lions, for the pride of Jordan is spoiled. Thus said the Lord my God, feed the flock of the slaughter, whose possessors slay them, and hold themselves not guilty. And they that sell them say, blessed be the Lord, for I am rich. And their own shepherds pity them not. And this is just what happened in those days. So you got to understand, man, the scriptures, it go from one dispensation in time to another. And right now, the scriptures is talking about how, they're talking about how we fell, and how they said, okay, well, they God, he ain't even fucking with them like that. They just fell and nothing happened. They didn't understand that we was in transgression at that time. He said, thus said the Lord my God, feed the flock of the slaughter, whose possessors slay them, and hold themselves not guilty. So they killing us all, but they're like, we ain't did shit wrong. These motherfuckers supposed to get killed. And they that sell them which is what you already know who sold us. Say, blessed be the Lord, for I am rich, and their old shepherds pity them not. And that's these goddamn Africans. They sold us. But they act like they ain't did nothing wrong. They blame it all on the white man. They act like they ain't did nothing wrong, but they just as guilty. It said, for I will no more pity the inhabitants of the land, said the Lord. But lo, I will deliver the men, every one into his neighbor's hand, and into the hand of his king. And they shall smite the land, and out of their hand I will not deliver them. And that's what happened. And I will feed the flock of slaughter, even you, O poor of the flock. And I took unto me 2 staves, the one I call beauty, and the other I call bands. And I fed the flock. 3 shepherds also I cut off in 1 month, and my soul loathed them, and their soul also abhorred me. Then said I will not feed you. That diet, let it die, and that is to be cut off, let it be cut off, and let the rest eat every one of the flesh of another. And and I'm gonna give you an example of what he was doing, because you got to think about Job. Job was his servant. You know, Job was a servant of Yahweh by Shem Yahushua. He was diligent. He was steadfast. He was humble, and he was a true servant of Yahweh. So the devil came to him, and the devil said, dude ain't humble. Dude ain't no shit. He's like, I bet you if you take his motherfucking money away, yeah, he humble because you get him all that paper. But I bet you take all his paper and his gold and his flocks away, I bet you take them. I bet he turn on your ass. So the Most High allowed the devil to afflict him to take that shit away from him, and he didn't curse God. And then so God was like, well, shit, what you got to say now? You know, he's like, okay, well, I bet you if you hit him in his limb and his bone, I bet you fuck up his health. I bet he curse your ass then. And so the Most High allowed the devil to afflict him for a nice period of time. And he wouldn't curse the Most High. He cursed the day that he was born, but he would not curse the Most High. You know? So there's people that the Most High has in place that are not going to be true to the cause. They're not going to be willing to die, you know, for the glory and the honor of Yahweh Shem Yahushua. And those people that's like that, he's going to put that pressure on their ass and break them and make them tell on themselves and make them out to be a liar. And then he's going to destroy their ass. And this is what he's doing to these people right here. And then he said, then said I will not feed you. That diet, let it die. And that is to be cut off, let it be cut off. And let the rest eat every one the flesh of another. You know, and I took my staff, even beauty, and cut it asunder, that I might break my covenant, which I had made with all the people. And it was broken in that day. And so the poor of the flock that waited upon me knew that it was the word of Yahweh. And I said unto them, if you think good, give me my price, and if not, forbear. So they weighed for me my price, 30 pieces of silver. And the Lord said unto me, cast it unto the potter, a goodly price that I was prized out of them. And I took the 30 pieces of silver, and cast them to the potter in the house of Yahweh. Then I cut asunder my other staff, even bands, that I might break the brotherhood between Judah and Israel. And the Lord said unto me, take unto thee yet the instrument of a foolish shepherd, for lo, I will raise up a shepherd in the land, which shall not visit those that be cut off, neither shall seek the young one, nor heal that is broken, nor feed that standeth still. But he shall eat the flesh of the fat, and tear the claws in pieces. Woe to the idle shepherd that leaveth the flock. The sword shall be upon his arm, and upon his right eye. His arm shall be clean, dried up, and his right eye shall be utterly darkened. I don't know about you, But that sound like some serious anger. You know? What is it that, I mean, how mad can you, how many times do you got to piss off your house by Shem Yahushua? Do these people not know, man, he will destroy your ass as quick as to look at you? And then we got people that's running around here right now that won't even listen to the doctrine of Yahweh. But in that day, they're going to wish they did. They're going to wish they listened. They're going to wish they paid attention. And I'm going to read a little bit more of this. And it says, the burden of the word of Yahweh. For Israel, said the Lord, will stretch its forth and heavens and lay up the foundation of the earth and formeth the spirit of man within him. Behold, I will make Jerusalem a cup of trembling unto all the people round about, when they shall be in the siege, both against Judah and against Jerusalem. And in that day will I make Jerusalem a burdensome stone for all people, all the burden themselves, which it shall be cut in pieces, though all of the people of the earth be gathered against it. And that's what's going to happen, because we already know he said that when he come to save us, he's going to save the tents of Judah first. Because, you know, the southern kingdom and the northern kingdom always got into it with each other. For some reason, the northern kingdom did not, they didn't like the southern kingdom. So he said he's going to raise up Judah first, so that the northern kingdom will not try to enlarge themselves against Judah. So we already know Judah is set as the head tribe of the 12 tribes. And then it says, in that day, said Yahweh, I will smite every horse with astonishment, and his rider with madness, and I will open mine eyes upon the house of Judah, and I will smite every horse of the people with blindness. And the governors of Judah shall say in their heart, the inhabitants of Jerusalem shall my strength and the Lord of hosts, their God. In that day will I make the governors of Judah like a hearth of fire amongst the wood, and like a torch of fire in a sheaf. And they shall devour all the people round about, on the right hand and on the left. And Jerusalem shall be inhabited again in her own place, even in Jerusalem. And the Lord shall save the tents of Judah first. Didn't I just say that?
Yeah.
That the Lord is going to save the tents of Judah first. So all these people that's inhabiting the land, the Most High said the Lord shall save the tents of Judah first, that the glory of the house of David and the glory of the inhabitants of Jerusalem do not magnify themselves against Judah. So they're not going to get together and gang up against us. In that day shall the Lord defend the inhabitants of Jerusalem, and he that is feeble among them at that day shall be as David, and the house of David shall be as God, as the angel of the Lord before them. We're going to have spiritual powers. He said he's going to take the feeble and the weak, and they're going to be as David when he slayed Goliath. Y'all remember that? Y'all remember when David slayed Goliath? He said our feeble and our weak old people going to be mighty like that. Yeah, we're gonna have powers for real. And the house of David shall, and he said, and the house, and at that day shall be as David, and the house of David shall be as God, as the angel of the Lord before them. And it shall come to pass in that day that I will seek to destroy all the nations that came up against Jerusalem. And I will pour upon the house of David and upon the inhabitants of Jerusalem the spirit of grace and of supplications. And they shall look upon me, whom they have pierced, and they shall mourn for him, as one mourneth for his only son. And that's Yahushua talking. And there should be bitterness for him, as one that in bitterness for his firstborn. You know, he said you're gonna feel like you lost your only firstborn son. That's how you gonna feel when they look at him pierced. And in that day shall there be a great mourning in Jerusalem, as the mourning of Hadrimion, and the valley of Megadon, and the land shall mourn every family apart, the family of the house of David apart. and their wives apart. The families of the house of Nathan apart, and their wives apart. The family of the house of Levi apart, and their wives apart. The families of Shimei apart, and their wives apart. All the families that remain, every family apart, and their wives apart. So that's a little bit more prophecy. I try to make sure it connect, when I do it. But I just want to give all praise to Yahweh Ba'Shem and Mashiach Yahweh Shai. I want to say Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai, and Shalom.